Hey everybody, it's less than 1 minute to start the meeting, and once it starts, you will know right now. Let's see here. I've got myself on mute, and there are, let's see here, 8 people in this press conference room. So there we are. This is about Coliseum Gardens and a set of unexplained, they say basically they're going to coordinate or explain that they're coordinating with federal, state, and local government officials and organizations to provide a response to the storm and its impact on Coliseum Gardens and those who've been displaced. I don't know. That's all I know. There was no laid out plan or anything. There was just a notice that there's going to be this press conference about this. So we'll have the mayor, we'll have the interim city manager, the interim director of community development, and the new Oakland Public Information Officer, who actually is a very nice person. And that is that. So there we are. So so anyway, as it happens, okay, so anyway, just typing back. Sorry, folks. So let's see here. By the way, Fox Sports and presentation of Super Bowl 57 scores 6-year high with 113 million viewers. Not bad. It's the third.
The administrator's account is asking me for multi-factor authentication, which I don't. Oops.
Anyway,
Hi, folks. I am so sorry for my delay in getting to you. As many of you probably know, the council meeting is ongoing. So we are going to ask, with your forgiveness and patience, that we're going to be doing a paper update later because we just don't know when they're going to wrap. So my apologies. We're trying up until the last second to see if this would be possible. And it doesn't look like at this point it will be. So again, if you have any questions or anything, shoot them to me. Please feel free. I'll put my email in the chat, but we do anticipate sending out some information via paper shortly. And again, my apologies for that. We had, would have let you know earlier, but I think we were hoping up until the last moment that they might be finished. And it seems like it's just running longer than we could have anticipated. So I'm sorry.
So I heard that.
So again, for those, I think maybe a couple people just hopped on, maybe did not hear that. The council meeting on this topic is ongoing. It's still happening. They have had the vote. It did pass, which is great. The city will be sending out information shortly, but unfortunately, because it's running long, we're not able to do the press event as we had planned this time. And my email and contact information is in the chat if you have any questions specifically related to this, but we do anticipate sending out some information via paper from Nicole's team at the city shortly.
Everybody hear that? So that's.
Thank you all. Sorry.
Skinny. And so as far as, I'm going to leave this because I think everybody's, well, it's funny. Everybody's still here. They have 8 participants still on. Now they're all dropping. Drop city. Cool. Now, as far as, right. So that's what's going on with that. No meeting. So that ends this broadcast. But what I'm going to do is, before I go there, I'm actually going to go to the city council page and see if I can find an agenda attached to this.
I'm sorry, I feel like someone is speaking and I can't hear you.
Nope,
okay.
Nope.
All right. Thank you all again. Appreciate again your patience and your forbearance with us today. But the bottom line is there was a successful vote to get residents assistance. So
okay, there was a successful vote to get residents assistance, she says. And so let me provide to you what that's going to mean in terms of the city of Oakland. I apologize for being a bit out of the loop there, but Oakland is experiencing a network outage. Several non-emergency systems, including voicemail within the city of Oakland, are currently impacted or offline. Thank you for your patience while we work to restore services. That's going on. Okay, so let's go to see if we can get in the city. Well, it's not like we're breaking in or anything, right? At all. City council, departments, and view meeting. Let's see, public meeting schedule. So we know something's going on right now, right? 13th, just scroll down. Did anybody watch the Super Bowl? Let's see here. Meeting details. Virtual telling. Agenda. City of Oakland final agenda. Going to Zoom again.
Recording in progress. What does paying rent or not paying rent have to do with the issue at hand? Like, you a coward, bro. Like, he's a coward. And y'all don't get on money to him. Like, y'all should make sure that the money is just given to us tenants. Because he's a coward. He might run with it.
Something's going on here, folks.
Does that complete your comments, Thao? Okay, thank you. Next in the queue is Miss Tracy Peterson. You may unmute and begin your comment.
I just wanted to understand clearly that the motion that was just passed was for us to continue staying in hotels for more months. I understand that you guys are kind of definitely bailing us out on being homeless for right this moment. But is that for us to be here for more months? Like, I hope the 60 days is coming. Like, we're almost there. So I'm just hoping the relocation funds are available right away so we can all start life. Like, this is not... Y'all don't have no idea. Just talking to y'all, my stomach just be burning and burning and burning and burning. Like, thank you. I'm done.
Thank you for your comments. Next in the queue is Angeline Sasser.
Actually, I have it. Okay.
You may unmute and begin your comments.
Spelled out in the agenda.
Hi, yeah, this is Dr. Angeline Sasser again. So just a couple of things I want to add. First of all, in all these meetings that the residents are going to, Michael Johnson is given as much time as he wants to talk. So I would really appreciate it if in the future, the residents of Coliseum Connections could get at least a little more time. I know we can't talk forever. I know people got to go on with their lives, but I think an extra minute or two is not going to kill anybody. The other thing is, did I hear that part of where this money is going is to hire a consultant to figure out how to deal with this money? You have got to be kidding me. The head of every household at Coliseum Connections is a functioning adult. How about you give us the money and you let us find a place to live? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next in the queue is Lydia Udoin. You may unmute and begin your comments, Lydia.
Thank you for the space and time. I just wanted to reiterate my comment from earlier, piggybacking off what the other residents have said about the money being distributed directly to us so that we can relocate. Me specifically, I meant to mention earlier, now have random people knocking on my hotel door, which is a reminder of the issue that I had with the security in the building with homeless drug addicts ringing my doorbell at home, which I have footage of on my Ring video camera, and is also a reminder of why I wouldn't want to go back to Coliseum Connections. So I just think that right now is constantly being reminded of the issues that we would have to return to at Coliseum Connections is discouraging. So I would hope that we could come to an agreement on distributing the funds directly to the residents so that we can relocate and quickly get out of these hotels, because as Ms. Tracy said, we shouldn't be staying in these hotels any longer. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Lakani is next.
Hi, yes, I just want to piggyback on something that Mr. Johnson said about people not paying rent. He's so worried about people not paying rent. So why he don't have proper insurance on the building, why he can't pay for us to stay in the hotel room? He's grown. He has masters and bachelors and all these degrees, but obviously he wasn't thinking it through, because why don't you have proper insurance on a building that will cover us? Why is it that I have to go through my insurance to fix my car? I have to get a whole new car, and guess what? It's been 6 weeks and my insurance still has not taken care of my car, which I had to spend my own money for 6 weeks on a rental car, which means I spent over $1,500 on a rental car, which is close to what I spend in rent. So I'm a rent paying citizen. I paid my rent for 4 years that I lived at Coliseum Connection. So it was a time where it's a pandemic and people are not able to pay their rent. And that goes for everyone.
Thank you for your comments. Next in the queue is Brandy James.
I would like us to actually be giving an actual solution to all of this. We get on these meetings and you guys give us half solutions in a sense. For example, you send us to FEMA. FEMA is denying a whole bunch of people in the apartment unit. And that right there is stressful on just them. And I'm one of those people. So it's stressful for me because I'm thinking, hey, the city is sending us to FEMA. They're going to actually help us. But then we turn around and get denial letters and got to do so much. If there's a way for you guys to advocate with FEMA and let them know this, like 3 FEMA representatives need to take on the case of Coliseum Connections so that we all are getting the same information from FEMA. We're being told the same information because every time we call, we're getting a different representative, but our situation is very unique and we need them to understand that, and everybody isn't. So we need.
Thank you for your comments. Andre B., you're next.
I want to apologize for my comment earlier. It's just frustrating being in this situation. It's been a new year. My birthday is on Thursday. I have to be here on my birthday. I'm currently work at the San Francisco airport as a TSA. I'm on leave until the end of March. And not knowing when I'm going to be able to go to work and go home. I have a 1-year-old child with me in this hotel as well as my 3 other children. Them not having a place to play and be kids and me able to provide for my family as a man of the household. This is just crazy. And I feel let down. I feel like nothing's going to change. We haven't been given no type of hope. And when we are given hope, it's just taken right back away.
Thank you for your comments. Madam Chair, that was the last speaker that had their hand raised before, while you called on them again. I'm sorry. 2 of which have already provided their comments for open forum.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Clerk. And thank you all for sharing your stories. We hear you. We empathize with this really challenging situation you're going through. Please know that in addition to Council Members Jenkins and Reid and the Mayor's office, we will continue to make sure that we're taking action here. So we're expecting that informational report with some answers and timelines and who's responsible. And please make sure that you do turn in your W-9s. As I understand, as soon as you turn those in, the city will be able to cut your $500 relocation check within 2 days. So thanks again, everyone, for participating. We will continue to make sure we act on this issue. And for now, this meeting is adjourned.
Wow. They're going to cut them $500 checks for relocating, folks. And let me see if I can get more of a handle on this through the agenda. The meeting's been ended by the host. So I'm going to go back to StreamYard here and because I found the agenda, and I'll read more to you about what's happening here with this. So let me go back and go to the agenda and then read to you. First of all, I'll read to you the report and the legislation. And while I'm doing that, there's one little item of consequence I need to take care of, right? It only takes a second to do. And I don't need to explain what that thing is, so I'll just do it. Here. There. And waiting. Okay. Set up. Still waiting. Bear with me for a moment. So once I set that up, while that's setting itself up, I found the agenda report and I'll read it to you. And it's emergency funding for Coliseum Connections tenant shelter. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution, one, authorizing the city administrator to expend up to $2 million to provide emergency non-congregate shelter for displaced residents of the Coliseum Connections project. This passed, by the way. Authorizing the city administrator to apply for reimbursement of expenses under the FEMA program, appropriating up to $125,000 to constitute the required local match to FEMA's reimbursement, and up to $25,000 for reimbursement claiming expenses, and authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement of not more than $25,000 with MGT to provide services related to the claiming of FEMA reimbursements, and authorizing the city administrator to enter into agreements to secure lodging for displaced tenants of the Coliseum Connections project for the time period between February 13th, 2023 and April 30th, 2023, without returning to council and waiving the competitive process. The executive summary is that on December 31st, New Year's Eve, residents of the Coliseum Connections housing development were displaced by flood damage from the historic winter storm. Tenants were subsequently relocated to area hotels, and as of February 8th, 2022, 102 households remain in these lodgings. Approximately half of these displaced households are low income. Repairs to the Coliseum Connections building are expected to last until at least March 30th of this year, 2023, and possibly into April 2023. But the private funding that has been paying for hotel expenses since the initial relocation will expire after Monday, February 13th. That's today. To prevent the 102 displaced households from becoming homeless the following day, this resolution will authorize the city administrator to spend up to $2 million to pay for hotel costs for the displaced Coliseum Connections tenants between today and April 30th, 2023. The proposed resolution will also authorize the city administrator to seek reimbursement of eligible expenses under the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Public Assistance Program. A component of this FEMA program is, quote, non-congregate shelter, unquote, which stipulates that when there is no viable shelter alternative, cities can be partially reimbursed for the cost of providing hotel rooms to those displaced by the disaster. Specifically, the city of Oakland expects FEMA to reimburse for 100% of the costs of providing hotel rooms until February 25th of this year. The city also expects the state of California and FEMA to cumulatively reimburse the city for 93.75% of the cost of providing hotel rooms after that date. The proposed and projected local match of 6.25% would therefore sum to approximately $125,000. This proposed resolution appropriates that local match from Oakland's Community Development Block Grant allocation. Here's the background legislative history. The Coliseum Connections housing development is a 110-unit project divided equally between market rate housing and low-income housing units, plus 2 manager units. The city of Oakland provided $12 million in capital subsidy to support the development of the affordable portion of the project in 2016. And the city also successfully co-applied with the project for $14.8 million in funding from the state of California's Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program. Now, on December 31st, 2022, heavy rainfall caused flooding in the underground areas of the building. This flooding ultimately inflicted severe damage on the building's electrical panel, causing power outages and ultimately requiring an evacuation of residents the following day. As a result of this damage and other storm-related damage across Oakland, the city administrator proclaimed a local state of emergency on January 4th, 2023. The owner currently projects the necessary repairs to be completed no sooner than March 30th, 2023, and possibly longer, depending on supply chain issues for equipment. While in most cases, insurance would be the first resource for financial coverage of property damage and relocation needs, the owner has asserted that the flood insurance coverage that was required through the project's lease with BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, was not in place. And therefore, the damage from the flooding is unlikely to be covered by insurance. Tenants of the 108 occupied housing units were subsequently offered the opportunity to relocate to area hotels. As of February 8, 102 displaced households are currently residing in 7 hotels. The property management estimates that approximately 2/3 of these households contain children. The developer and owner, Urban Core Development, that's Michael Johnson's corporation, and the property management company FPI Management has initially paid for those hotel expenses. However, the developer recently informed the city that they will be unable to pay for these hotels after today, Monday, February 13th, without the city stepping in to cover the cost of ongoing hotel expenses. The families in these rooms are at risk of becoming homeless. And the following day would start the clock toward that situation. Additionally, the estimated cost of providing hotel lodging to the displaced households is approximately $150,000 per week, which is at a below market rate negotiated by the building owner. There's an effort underway to negotiate further reductions in rates with hotels. In the immediate aftermath of the storm, it was unclear to the city of Oakland and residents how long the repairs would take, with a hope that once the flooded garage was pumped out, that the tenants would be able to return within a week or two. We now understand, says the city of Oakland, that the repairs will take several more weeks into March or even April of this year, which means that tenants will likely be displaced for 3 or more months since the building closure. Under the city's code compliance relocation ordinance, the city of Oakland provided to the property management and tenants of Coliseum Connections apartments the requirements as governed by Oakland Municipal Code OMC 15.60 for temporary and permanent relocation, including the required payment of $500 to eligible households as required under OMC, that's Oakland Municipal Code 15.60.110 subdivision B. Upon FPI management informing the city of their inability to cover the $500 payment per person to the approximate 107 tenants, households, the city, at its discretion, released an online application of, quote, immediate vacation benefit, enabling tenants to apply for the $500 immediate vacation benefit due from the property owner. City funds to cover this expense were identified to be later reimbursed to the city by Coliseum Connections Apartments ownership through FBI management. As of February 9th, 2023, the city has received 104 responses to the online application and are processing the payment daily and verifying the applications verified by the Coliseum Connection Apartment rent roll. While the FPI management has covered the hotel costs to date, for most displaced tenants, the city has found the owner to be out of compliance with Oakland Municipal Code 15.6 pursuant to Oakland Municipal Code 15.60, I should say, 110 subdivision B. Monetary relocation payments are due to the eligible tenant household for actual and reasonable moving expenses and temporary relocation expense. Due to the severe nature of the New Year's storm, Alameda County is currently subject to a federal major disaster declaration 4683. As a result, FEMA is making financial assistance available to individuals through its Individual Assistance Program and to governments through its Public Assistance Program. Now, one of the components of the Public Assistance Program is the non-congregate shelter program. The non-congregate shelter assistance program pays for all or it can part of the expense to provide hotels and other non-congregate housing, to households displaced by the federal disaster, if no other shelter options are available. To access the non-congregate shelter program, the city must send a statement of intent to FEMA within 5 days of when it began paying for the hotel rooms. The city does not need FEMA approval before accruing eligible expenses. However, every 30 days, the non-congregate shelter program continues. The city of Oakland must seek FEMA approval for extension. Wow. The non-congregate shelter program will reimburse 100% of eligible expenses accrued within 60 days of the beginning of the federally declared disaster. FEMA is therefore expected to reimburse all the city expenses, 100% for hotel lodging until February 25th. After the 25th, FEMA and the state of California are expected to jointly fund 93.75% of eligible expenses for the duration of the need, so long as that need does not exceed 6 months. The city of Oakland would be responsible for providing the 6.25% local match. Analysis and policy alternatives are listed here. This is actually quite extensive, but I've given you the gist of it. And I'll read the rest of this later, and then I'll distill it for you. The action requested of the city council in the staff report went as follows. Staff recommends that the city council adopt a resolution to 1, authorize the city administration to expend the $2 million, 2, authorize the city administrator to apply for reimbursement of expense, 3, appropriate up to $125,000 to constitute the required local match. And that's the $500 there that goes to each tenant of the 107 tenant, was really 104 to date. Authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement of not more than $25,000 with MGT to provide services related to the claiming of FEMA reimbursements. And that refers to what a gentleman said. You mean why we're paying we're paying $25,000 to someone to figure out what to do with the money? 5, reauthorizing the city administrator to enter into agreements to secure lodging for displaced tenants of the Coliseum Connections project for the time between February 13th and April 30th, 2023, without returning to council and waiving the competitive process, including local and small local business enterprise program requirements. And this passed, okay? And that was what this meeting was about, to pass that. And then they were going to have the press conference to discuss the program. So there should be, unfortunately there's not, a website, to present all that. But, as they say, or as is popular to say now, it is what it is. So that the next steps are going to be to really get that money to those people. My concern is with that FEMA issue, where every 30 days, FEMA is supposed to say to the city, okay, you can go ahead and make your advances, right, and everything else. But hey, my question is, how long does it take FEMA to respond to that? In other words, how long does the city of Oakland have to wait for FEMA? And why did the city just leave it to a price of $500? It was almost like the city was lowballing the problem. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like we're, as a city of Oakland, lowballing a problem at a time when the residents need the help. And why not, instead of $500, why not $1,000? And why not $1,000? That's really sad when people think, well, gee, I know you're in such trouble, but I don't want to give you a lot of money, or what I consider to be a lot of money. I don't want to give you enough money you need to make a comfortable relocation choice. That's not right. That's not right. That should be $1,000 easily, or $2,000, because a number of the people said, they don't want to relocate or go back to the facilities there because they're just so badly damaged, quite obviously. So why not just give them, rather than putting them in hotels, why not give them $2,000 to actually find an apartment someplace? I mean, it's just 100 people. I don't get that. City's got a lot of money, can figure out a better way to handle it. All right, there's a situation. And if you go to, after this is over, if you go to zenny62blog.com, I'll have this will appear as a video, and I'll have the full staff report in there. It won't be instantaneous. The video should be up, momentarily, or I should say after I stop talking, right? But let's see if it's actually made it, because my systems haven't been performing like I want them to of late. So that stuff happens. All right. I think I know what the problem might be. Hold on a second. New window here. 1 second. That might be it. Nope, that's not the problem. So the system should work. Okay. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. That ends this broadcast.